Hey everybody. Today we're going to be talking about our next project, the security system. This is a big fan favorite and I'm really excited to start this one with you guys. Well, before we really start the security system, we need to talk about design process again. So the first part of the design process is defining the problem. Figuring out what exactly is the problem we're trying to solve. So we're going to go through our design brief. So let's talk about me. I am the person who's hiring you. The consumer, though, is middle school students, so kids your age, not me. So this is not a security system that you might would use at a museum or a bank, or a jewelry store, something like that. This is more of a security system that you might use as a student. And we'll talk a little bit more about what kind of security system is going to be down below. So it needs to be something that's going to keep things safe and secure. That's the problem we're trying to solve. Now, how we're going to solve it is going to be creating a program for our microbit that will use inputs and outputs. So that's what we've been kind of working with, all those different inputs and outputs. So we kind of have some choices here. So looking at our choices, we have our security system where you can have it protect an area. So if someone enters an area, so whether it be a space, enter a room, something like that, you can have it where you're trying to protect an object. So when someone takes an object, then the security system would go off. So kind of thinking about, if you have it underneath an object, or if it's hooked up to an object, so when it moves, they would notice that. And last one is if someone opens something that they're not supposed to, whether it be a notebook, a box, or even a locker. So those are kind of the things of how you could protect. So let's talk about some of those criteria. Criteria, remember, are the things that it is required to have. So it has to have at least one input. So it has to have some kind of sensor that tells it that something has been triggered. Next thing is it has to use at least one microbit to run the program. That makes sense. However, you can do two. So if you want to use Bluetooth, that is optional. That'd be something kind of maybe a little more advanced to kind of show that you are above expectation. Your device has to use at least one output. So it has to tell people in some way. So whether it be the LED screen, sound, or extra LED lights like we kind of hooked up. And last one, this is one that people have forget the most, is they can activate or deactivate the system. So it means turn on or off. So let's talk about the constraints. First one, and this is just because of our supplies, because remember we have 3 different classes using the microbits, is that every single item has to be able to be removed every single day. Meaning you can't have such a complicated system that it takes days to build. So what you're going to do is you're going to have to take it apart each and every day. So you'll have to make sure we pull those apart. And it can't be bigger than basically a 12 by 12 inch thing. So if you are going to add some parts, it kind of have some building, it has to be kind of smaller than 12 by 12 inches. This is just a feasibility of the fact that we have so many students in a classroom. It would be kind of difficult to have those different things. So let's talk about what you are going to be brainstorming and coming up with your ideas. So as always, remember, three ideas is expectation. So below that would be not meeting expectation. However, we talked about before is if you want to be advanced, then exceeding expectations. Well, we're going to do that on the brainstorming pages. So you make sure you have each of your ideas has a name. So you'll put that here. So let's say I decided I'm going to do one where it's going to be a body heat alarm. So we have our title body heat. So obviously the input for that one's going to probably be the temperature sensor. Now I'm using this one as my example because I'm going to tell you right honestly, remember we talked about the temperature sensor. It is a terrible sensor for detecting body heat. It just does not give body heat, does not change the temperature enough. Now remember, I could have multiple inputs. I could have temperature sensor and light sensor or things like that. Outputs. What am I going to do to let somebody know? Mine, I'm going to be using my LED screen. It's going to start flashing on and off. So how it works, you're going to kind of give a simple statement, kind of explaining how it works. So for mine is that when someone opens a locker, the microwave will detect their body heat and then show an alarm. So in my drawing here, it's kind of hard for me to draw, per se, on here, but I'll try my best. So we are going to have, maybe you're going to have that locker. So you draw it. And then go ahead and show locker door opening. Now, where's it going to be at? So my microbit's going to be right here. I don't have any wires or anything like that where I need to hook up. So mine's it's pretty simple. And a really bad drawing of it. And then that's for mine. That's pretty simple. That's about it. That's all that's really going to be in that locker. Because yeah, it's a pretty simple security system. Now, if I was to have maybe I wanted to use one of the other sensors that we had to plug into it, being a pressure sensor or something like that, then I need to be drawing that on there. So this is just one of my ideas on there. So now we want to think about what inputs and outputs we can use when you do your ideas. I will have this document available for you to see in the Schoology. Now, again, remember we talked about our 3 different options. Again, talk about these. So those are here in case you want to review those. But the inputs we can use: a pressure sensor, photocell resistor, magnetic field detector, light sensor, accelerometer, gyroscope, push button, temperature sensor, compass direction, DIY button. And I'm going to add one more that we did not have in the past is sound level. Our outputs are LEDs, speaker, Bluetooth signal to another microbit. So these are our different outputs we can use. So you remember you got to have at least one input, one output for each of your ideas. Hopefully this makes sense for you guys, and try to come out and think about outside the box. Think of the best security system that would fool me, that would fool somebody trying to break into it. Don't go for the easiest one. Maybe try to think of some ones that are going to be the safest, that will protect your stuff the best. Good luck.